Welcome back to CBS Saturday Morning. We begin this half hour with Pope Francis's plea for forgiveness. On Friday, the Pope concluded his 6-day visit to Canada with a stop in a remote territory near the Arctic Circle. The Pope has spent much of his visit apologizing for the Catholic Church's role in abuses committed against Indigenous children over the course of more than a century. The Pope arrived back in Rome this morning. Chris Livesay traveled with him during his trip through Canada. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. It was a historic visit for Pope Francis, apologizing repeatedly for the abuse of Indigenous children inside Catholic-run boarding schools. Now, gone was the traditional celebration that usually greets a pope on such visits, replaced by the very expressions of culture the Church once sought to erase. It was a moment that crystallized the Pope's penitential trip, traditionally an honor by chiefs for chiefs, one that seemed to say, we accept your apology. I've come to your native lands to tell you in person that I'm pained, he said, and to beg God for forgiveness. From the late 1800s to 1997, more than 150,000 Indigenous children were taken from their families to attend residential boarding schools. The goal? To forcibly assimilate them and make them Christian, often violently punishing them for speaking their native language and cutting the long hair so significant to their culture. I've come to cry with you, he said. But of Canada's more than 1.6 million Indigenous people, not everyone is cheering. Richard Green spent 9 years at a residential boarding school.
When you remove a child from the parents and from the community and get them to lose all their identity, their language, I think that's a genocide.
A powerful word that was present in Canada's own Truth and Reconciliation report, but absent from the Pope's speeches. Also missing an acknowledgement that the abuse was systemic inside the Catholic Church and not just the fault of a few bad apples. But the pontiff did call for further investigation and even apologized for pre-sex abuse, which plagued Canada's residential schools. Now that the Pope has finally come, after decades of campaigning for an apology, the time has come for the Indigenous community to accept it, says Phil Fontaine, the former chief of the National Assembly of First Nations and a survivor of boarding school abuse, credited with first bringing this issue to international attention.
At some point, if we are serious about healing and reconciliation, that cannot happen unless we are prepared to forgive.
Now, aboard the papal plane that just returned here to Rome, Pope Francis was asked why he didn't use the word genocide. His answer? It just didn't come to mind, but as I was apologizing, what I described was just that, genocide. Jeff?
Chris Livesay in Rome, thank you very much.